But y'all just are we live on the tube? He probably just go through and clip it. Let's see. But y'all just I hear my lame ass voice. Make sure. Oh yeah.
What's y'all's YouTube? I'm about to.
Yeah, let me I'll actually throw it up. I don't think anybody's gonna get in here right now. Let me send it to you. Yeah, I'll get some links up. Let's see that. Mm. I really need to use like the little scheduler well, we didn't schedule this honestly, because we have like a scheduler, like a Hootsuite kind of situation. But I mean, it was just so impromptu. So I'm gonna tag you on Twitter, okay?
Okay.
That was game four.
Yeah.
Game four, instant reaction with it over to the YouTube page now. I'll do it like that, and then I'll I'll just throw the tweet. I'll just throw the link in the original tweet. They know my heart, amen. There's probably a couple of folks watching, but it's okay. Say cheese, Wendell. There we go. Mm. Oh, it's okay. At least Instagram lets you do like the little pretty link so people can just tap it without feeling like weird or like having to click on a whole ass URL or whatever.
Yeah. Bro, I don't know why
Um,
Twitter changed that. Well, you remember that period where they didn't like show like the headlines on tweets on like that
yes,
was so weird, man.
very much so. Okay, let's get you posted on the IG story. And I tagged us, so we should be good. Why is IG trying to tell me to follow my neighbor? Oh, there we go.
See it though. Oh my
All
God.
right, bro. Oh, I like that. Come on. Oh, go get you need to go get something real quick.
No, I was gonna see if my light would be better for me in a different chair, but it's all right.
No, you're good. Honestly, you're already a lot better than most of our guests concerned with their lighting and their backdrops. So I appreciate it off the top. You guys are folks, it's okay. No Cat Family, what is going on? It's your boy Josh Crawford. Sans the rest of the regular family. Nick is probably I probably woke him up. Vance is like I said, birthday weekend for him. So y'all send my boy good vibes in the comments and all that. And TJ is suffering from the fact that he doesn't have a quarterback in New Orleans. But in lieu of that, I have another brethren on somebody whose team is still in the playoffs. Unfortunately, unlike our hometown Memphis Grizzlies, close colleague, somebody that from my second home state does some really cool work at a place I used to work at. Um, Wendell, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? It's been it's an honor to be to be on the pod. I for the first
I,
time.
I appreciate that. I'm collecting my Infinity Stones. As I think he's mad at me. We shot this episode, but it never aired. Partly because of my fault, but like I told you before, I don't edit the episode, so just life be happening, brother. Life is happening. This adulting thing is definitely interesting. So I got Jonah on. I think I've had Jonah on twice actually. We've had the Michael on. So yeah, I think in terms of the commercial appeal newsroom, sports newsroom, I think I got everybody honestly.
Yeah.
So you use the last plug and
Best for
play.
last.
One thing I hit it. I did not state it outright in Windows intro. He is an Oklahoma City Thunder fan. Original, so you said since '08, so not a
Really?
bandwagoner. despite the fact that the man comes from the great city of Houston, Texas, which not even saying it out loud, I guess does border Oklahoma City, but his state has more than his fair share of NBA teams to pick from. So, I'll give you the floor window right now just to talk about why you like the Thunder, but also just give my audience just a little blip about what you do in Memphis. A lot of like I said, a lot of our viewers are Memphis based.
Yeah, well, I cover high school sports with a commercial appeal. So just this past week wrapped up spring fling. So my first high school sports season is completed, which I feel like it feels like went by really fast. Just remember me, I went to Mizzou, as Josh mentioned, from Houston. Been like a big sports fan my whole life. And the first like team I ever had was like Texas Longhorns. That's where my dad went to school. So that's like before I really got in like pro sports, I just rooted for Texas. Like Vince Young was like first athlete I fell in love with. Reason I wore number 10. So then naturally, a couple years later, KD followed along there at UT. So that's how I ended up being an OKC fan. I like KD before my dad put me on Kobe. That was like those were the only like two basketball players I knew. For some reason, I never like wanted to be a Lakers fan. So that's how I ended up rooting for OKC. So been that way ever since.
Okay, okay. I like the origin story. I'm not gonna lie. It has some meaning because it's definitely like I said. Um, yeah, you had no shortage of it's even your hometown, bro. Like you have no
Yeah.
shortage of pictures, specifically your hometown. But that's like I said, a nice heartwarming story. And yeah, I think it's better than watching James Harden unethically play basketball growing up. So I can imagine. Yeah, you didn't have a lot of because I mean even before Harden, like Rock. Yeah, so yeah, you didn't have I guess a
Before
lot of
Harden was
hometown
rough. So
inspiration before. Say it again.
I said before Harden it was rough. So
Yeah, I was about to say it wasn't a lot of inspiration coming up. I guess when you was selecting fandom, so it makes sense. It makes sense. Ethical fandom selection. Well, I mean, just again, just because a lot of our views are based out of Memphis. Um, put in context the work you do compared to the name that a lot of people on our that maybe viewing our viewers will know. One, Mr. John Varlas.
um I don't really know how I could compare. Well, I guess from what I've been told, I think part of it's just like this is the first job for me, so I think I have a lot more or bring a lot more like energy just as far as like getting out to a lot of places, going to practices and driving to the further games if I need to. Um, but no, I really enjoy it. I feel like covering high school sports for me has been a great way to like learn Memphis, just learn the area and really Tennessee as a state, which I didn't really expect at first, but like I've been to Murfreesboro way too many times already. Went to Chattanooga and been all over the place. But nah, like just yeah, covering high school, like I've been to all parts of Memphis. I've been to even like DeSoto County some for games and as far as like Carville, Mumford, Bartlett, and obviously a lot of the city schools too, especially with basketball season. And no, like I don't know what all you wanted me to say there, but yeah,
Podcast, brother. Let
yeah,
the thoughts flow. Let the thoughts.
yeah,
Like I said, just John JV's obviously a name that again, a lot of people that watch this show, but just even in the the state level is synonymous with high school
yeah,
sports
yeah,
coverage. So that's a name that will orient a lot of people that I know and will know like, oh, he does what John Wallace does, or he's kind of fighting,
yeah,
JV
yeah,
on a lot of things. So, but again, you answered it, brother. It's a pause. No
yeah,
pressure.
yeah, yeah.
Fortunately, I guess unfortunately, I guess as you know my bias. Yes, your team is now 5 wins away,
Great.
as a recording from an NBA championship. Um, I think I saw a Ringer pod. I think this is y'all's 80th win on the season, I believe. So definitely entering, or honestly, already were in like historic territory in terms of championship runs, especially considering you all's age. Wendell, how does it feel to be? Yeah, how does it feel to be 5 wins away from an NBA championship in a very minuscule place?
It doesn't really feel real, I guess. Like I was watching the game with some Wolves fans and was thinking about just like 2 years ago losing in the play into the Wolves, and the year before that winning like what 20 games or whatever it was. It's just crazy how fast this team has grown up and how fast just how fast the players have developed. And obviously the two moves they made this offseason for Hardenstein and Caruso have been massive, but it still feels like they shouldn't be this good right now. in a way. And like I understand they're like a historically good team, but also like it's weird kind of like to me, like me watching them play, like yes, they're really good. I still see like so many areas where like this team can still grow because like the players are so young. It's like I don't think anyone on this team, maybe with the exception of like Caruso and Kenrich Williams, like I don't think anyone's game is like complete or has peaked at all. So it's really exciting. Um, yeah, one game away from the finals, first time since 2012. So um, crazy stuff.
Pop it, pop it. Now, in this, I think almost undoubtedly at this point, Sam Presti has, I'm not it, unprecedented success or a level of acumen in terms of roster building,
Yeah.
for the present and future that we haven't seen of this side of Danny Ainge, I guess. So we have competent leadership at that level. Obviously, you just gotta get the right pieces slash have the hit on your certain picks or whatever your assets are to build something like this. Obviously, a guy like Shea, the signs were there, but you just definitely didn't expect to
Oh, definitely.
capitalize this much off of the PG trade. You take you get like you said you suffer through some loser seasons. You hit on a unicorn with Chet. You hit on a late lottery with Jalen Williams. Y'all, it looks a lot like Memphis was in 2019. But I digress. Y'all gonna find a bit of a guy. You know what I'm saying? This is not. We'll get into mud about that later. Trust me. Specifically, this game four that we just saw. What were your thoughts going in after again? Game three has not treated y'all well during the playoffs. And like you said, for how good y'all still are in this playoff maturation stage right now. So
Yeah.
just what was your feelings going into this game four? And just how did that progress throughout the game? So we'll get into a little bit more. But just like I said, what was your thoughts going in after that game three loss?
I think like after game three, um, it was obviously embarrassing. Like the second half, I didn't even like have on the commentaries. I didn't want to hear them talking about how bad OKC was losing. I watched I forced myself to. I was like, I'm not gonna like switch off the game. So I watched Dylan Jones hoop for the entire fourth quarter. Um, but
Shout
uh,
out Weber
I
State.
I think I kind of just like mentally scrapped it as of like because I think everyone knew Minnesota was going to come out playing desperate, and playing as hard as they could, and they definitely did that. It's always funny in the playoffs when you see teams come out with that. It's like you could have played that way in games one and two. Uh, but I guess like I know part of it's like the home crowd and desperation pushes you to like a different level. But I think coming into this game, I figured would respond well. I think like you said, of like maturing in the playoffs. I think we saw that in the Denver series, especially after game one, a game that they pretty much gave away. And then game three kind of as well in that series. And I think we saw them grow up in and learn how to kind of win ugly. And then, I mean, not that it should have happened, but I think even after like game two in this series, it was like, oh, they felt like they had it won because it started a lot differently than the Denver series did. And then you see them maybe just come out a little lax just to start game three. So I think coming into this game today, I figured they would be a little cleaner and probably come out hungrier after the kind of embarrassment that game three was. And we got a great game.
Undoubtedly so. Like, and like I told you, and I was, off cam, like, I mean, anybody would have, that's actually watched y'all would see it. Like, y'all's ability to kind of just like at a drop of a hat, drop a 8-0 to 10-0 to 12-0 run, like that's been y'all's biggest separator, honestly, outside of MVP and the elite defense. But that's how really been y'all's like game breaker throughout the year. So I was honestly kind of waiting on it because y'all was just kind of keeping Minnesota at bay. I would say the first half, even most of the game, honestly, like between 8 to 10. But they would have these spurts. When the first half they took the lead, I think, in the first half or second quarter. But yeah, it would go from like 8 to 10, and then it would get to two, it would get to four. And it kind of played out like that throughout the game. So like I said, just what like I said, what was your thoughts in terms of the game? Definitely was close. I maybe I won't speak for you. I definitely feel like you should have felt at least somewhat comfortable throughout until maybe the very end. But just
Yeah.
how do you again, you win a big game seven. Um, I think I would say this is probably the second biggest win in the playoffs for y'all. Like, how do you feel again about like this, this maturation process y'all are going through right now?
I think probably the biggest story for me through the playoffs has been like Jalen Williams' like kind of up and down performance. We've seen him have some really bad games, seen him have some like good games. I think this game tonight, given the, it's not like stats wise, isn't like his greatest game ever, but I think given the stage, best game of his career easily to this point. Um,
Sure.
6 of 9 from three was huge for a team that's shot below from three is shot below the mean the whole playoffs pretty much. Um, and yeah, he showed up. I mean, I think we've seen games where his shot just hasn't fallen and he's taken bad shots and he's kept forcing bad shots. I think he just seemed very under control tonight. They sagged off of him a lot, trying to like for doubling Shea, and he made open shots when he was open. So I think for me, that's probably on the OKC side, it's probably the biggest story of the game. Chet had a great game also. Shea, not efficient, but in the playoffs, as long as you're putting up numbers at the end of the day,
Like
that's what.
49-10, like
Yeah, yeah,
you're never gonna complain about that.
not gonna
Never,
complain about
never.
that. I think on the Minnesota side, my thoughts is like this has to hurt if you're a Minnesota fan, given what you got out of you.
Dante, nah, no,
Yeah,
this was
what you got out of Dante and Nikhil are probably definitely for Nikhil probably the best playoff game he's ever had. They were a combined what 10 of 16 from three. Like
and then
you
Dante,
you get
he
yeah
was kind of, due for one. He had the struggles he had been having. So
yeah
is I mean, I mean, going into this game, and it's at home. Role players play better at the crib. Like you had to have really four. But I would say your three bench, one of these, whatever. Nah, Dante, Nas Reed. You needed because for the most part, two out of three have been struggling. Nah played really well last game, but you needed some pop. You needed some, I guess, abnormally high contributions from two out of those three, and you got it. And
yeah
you hate to feel like this because I think I think he got a little bit more aggressive. I think in the second half, but in a do or die game, 13 shots from your best player,
yeah.
like
That's the thing. That's
it's
the thing. That's the thing you didn't get this game. You got the great bench production, but your best player, like you said, took 13 shots. Jaden McDaniels took the most shots for the Wolves tonight. Jaden McDaniels and Alexander Walker took the most shots, which like that's just probably should never happen. You have a guy like an all NBA guy who has proven that he performs in the playoffs. Like he's like as young as he is, I think he's had a number of really good series and he's been great in these playoffs so far. And just it wasn't even that he wasn't making shots, just wasn't getting open or was having to pass out of a lot of looks. Um,
and
he
I mean it was like I said, I didn't see. I mean, there was a little bit of I don't even say his lack of aggression. I think in the first half, but man, I mean, again, like that's honestly my favorite part of watching y'all, the defense.
yeah.
Like, bro, when you're switching from Dort to Caruso or like Caruso to Casey Wallace, like, bro, that shit is unfair.
And
Like,
it's like
what are you like? When am I supposed to create the advantage?
yeah,
Like,
well, I thought it was funny there at the end of the game. Once they started playing the free throw game of they subbed out Shea to put on Caruso, and it's like Shea is an above average defender, but if you're looking for someone to like take off the floor to improve your defense, the fact that you're taking off Shea, and obviously like he is will always be more known for his offensive game, but an above average defender like that's who you take off to bring on I think it was Case and Wallace there at the end. But there was one possession, the guys I was watching with, like I had pointed out with Caruso there at the end. It was like a dribble handoff action with like Ant, Nas, and someone else like near the break line. And like Caruso switched between all three of them like through the whole action. And like no one could create any kind of separation. It's just great team defense, but they just have a lot of just individually brilliant defenders. And
yeah, I mean, I'm not
yeah.
actually done at all. Like, Dagnar, I think is not a bad coach, which I think is honestly a more important trait than what we give credit for nowadays in the NBA. A coach that doesn't get in the way. Um, but yeah, I mean, like you said, when you got Easily three, I would say maybe four, because like you say, Shay's an above average defender. But you got three guys that could be all defensive guys in Dort, Caruso, and I mean
And,
three. That's just perimeter because Chet could
and
be
Chet too. That
that's
block
what
he
I'm
got with
saying. Like, so
Daniels.
you got three guys on the perimeter that could be all defensive candidates, and then an elite rim protector. Like, bro, it could be me and you out there winning on the wings. We could get still a pretty decent defense. So it's not like I just like you said. A lot of people harp on Ant. The regular season for like bad shot selection or whatever. I just don't think that this defense that was being played on him would have produced any type of quality looks because they was on his ass like white on rice. Like, so that was an impressive thing for me. I think we think about it kind of, only at the rim in terms of like rim deterrence, like, oh, how many, what shot does a rim protector prevent from going up? But I think that, like I said, that trio, Kaysen, Dort, Caruso, especially. I mean, I was a big fan of Kaysen Wallace coming out of Kentucky. I think it just kind of proved my Drew Holiday comp pretty correctly. Like really, he is really giving Ant a lot of problems this
Yeah,
series, real
yeah,
for real. Wendell, because I think we got the kind of game wrapped up. Like, yeah, I had an MVP, have a ton of picks, have a ton of young guys. Um, You have been in this situation before with this franchise, and didn't get a championship. Well, like, what are your expectations? Like, what do you have realistically over the next, 5, or 10 years with this? Because, like I said, y'all probably gonna be the most talented team for a better part of the decade. So, like, what do you like I said in a situation like this? Like, how do you like not expect 5 championships, something like that? I guess.
yeah. Well, I guess as far as five goes, I mean, we're on this run now where we're going to have a seventh different champion in 7 years. Like, but like going back to what you mentioned about Sam Presti and what he's done, that's the only thing he's missing. He had like when the franchise moved to OKC, he drafted like obviously not in those years, but he drafted MVPs in back-to-back seasons and Durant, Westbrook, Harden. You've had a team go to the finals before. You've had another guy that you've traded for win MVPs. You've done everything right as far as you had 2 years of a rebuild, and now you're 3 years later you're back a game away from the finals. I think the expectation certainly this year, if not over the next 2 to 3 years, is to win it all. Um, I think, and this could be a whole nother conversation, so I'm not going to get into it. But I think whenever whenever you're eventually gonna have to pay J-Dub and Chet, and I think that'll make things more difficult. I think you hope
Mm.
Shea maybe takes a as team friendly of a deal as he can in a year from now. But I
Team.
think that
But
definitely,
this ain't Jalen Brunson. Talking about team
yeah, no,
friendly.
for
You want
real,
that?
for real.
Yeah. You want that? Yeah.
But I think
That
in the next,
Munyon.
yeah, I think in the next 2 years are probably your best years to get it done because I think Hartenstein, because of Williams and Chet, is probably going to be a casualty of the team having to pay those two guys. Because he's only on a 3-year deal, and they're not going to pay him the money he's making whenever Chet and J-Dub are getting paid. So I think this year and next year, while the team is as cheap as it is still, they should definitely are the best team position to win, I think, in the NBA.
Mm. So I'm saying, like, how does, like you said, in comparison to, I mean, your genesis with, your fandom here, like, would you like, well, one championship will it satisfy, the potential of this group? Like, do you, like I said, do you think two? Like, what do you think? Like, what would it take for you to walk away satisfied for the next, like I said, 5 to 10 years of, OKC basketball?
I mean, honestly, if they get a title this year, like it'll probably be just because I was telling the guy tonight, I think of my sports teams, the Thunder and then Real Madrid on the wall behind me are the only teams of mine that I chose of like that's different from like my family or the teams I was kind of like born into. So I think
Mm.
like the Thunder winning would probably be like my happiest moment as like a sports fan, I think.
Shit.
So it's like obviously the Cowboys ain't won anything. Texas ain't won anything. Mizzou ain't win anything anytime soon. Um,
I got
so I don't know. I think there'll be easier question for me to answer, I guess, if they do win. But I think over the next like 5 years, at least the title. I don't want to go past that just because like the parity in the NBA is crazy. You never know with like this has been a remarkably healthy franchise, like with the exception to Chet this season, and obviously his rookie year too. But like it's just kind of hard. Like you see what happens with the Celtics. Like I think like last season or 2 years ago, he's like the Celtics should run the NBA, and then now with the Tatum injury, it's like you're looking at like, are they gonna like retool completely like retool this the offseason? It's like the team is gonna break up anyway because of money reasons, and now your best player is gonna miss all of next season. Like, what do you do? So like you never, it's kind of hard to predict with stuff like that. But I think certainly a title over the next 2 to 3 years is at least one.
Okay, okay. Say we're casually optimistic, but not like I said, not putting yourself out there. I actually appreciate the the realistic nature of your expectations.
Yeah.
I say, I mean, when I know college football is your home, we may get to a little bit of it. Like I said, I had to get up. I mean, my job gets me up 8:45 minutes. So I try to get up an hour before, so close on my bedtime, but it's okay. Um, unless you've been under a rock, playoffs have been damn exciting.
Yeah.
Just as a general, ball knower, but in general, just somebody that like has a dog in the hunt right now. Just what have you made of the playoffs? Up to this point, especially, the conference finals is they've been crazy, but just yeah, well, just give me some takes that you got about just the playoffs. What you've seen so far.
I mean, I think the playoffs have kind of had everything. You've had like your Cinderella team and that made the playoffs in Detroit. You've had game winners, multiple game winners. You've had kind of upsets with Cleveland getting beaten 5 games. Um, I think the one thing that's kind of like stood out is the physicality has certainly been it has certainly been a lot. And I think it's funny because people of like college generations like, oh, like these guys couldn't play in the 80s and the 90s. Like it's like but I mean I think we've seen games, not really the one tonight, but like we've seen games where it's like football. It's like it's so physical. That's kind of been like the I guess the presiding like one like overarching thing. Like overall, I think it's been a heck of a lot of fun if you're a neutral or if you're like if you are rooting for a specific team. Yeah, I think it's kind of had everything.
Mm, I would definitely agree. I would definitely agree. Oh, okay, because like see, it's decently close to my bedtime, but this one will be for the clip, so don't even worry about it. This is like I said, purely we're COU over here. Wendell Shepherd, noted Oklahoma City fan, convince me right now why your favorite player, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, aka Mr. Giggles, known on this side, is not a foul merchant. Let's make a strong case for that right now, sir.
I saw a stat before this game. I think up until this game, he had taken 110 free throws in the playoffs, which I think it was of like 30 point per game scores entering the playoffs. I don't want to misquote this. He was like 28th all time in free throws taken through like that span of a playoffs. Um, which like no like people have gotten up at like Harden, Luca, and B whatever like being foul baiters, and like I don't think Shea's nearly as bad as those guys. But like even the numbers just don't even like align to what people say, and I think like I blame the internet and then also ESPN a lot for this being like as strong of a narrative as it is. And it's like we're looking at like what he's done to this point of his career, like an all-time great, and like the only thing people talk about now is seemingly like even though he won the MVP a week ago is like, oh, he's shooting so many free throws, which is like the numbers wise just in the regular season and the playoffs, number one, haven't even been number one in the league, and don't even like historically aren't even like a lot, you know. But I mean, like he certainly is good at drawing fouls. I'm not gonna act like he doesn't like intentionally draw fouls. I mean, I think when like he's
Like
like
it'd be like that. It'd be like that
yeah,
for
I
sure.
think he's like arguably like the shiftiest ball handler in the league. Like he gets people off balance, he gets people in the air. And that's just, I mean, it's part of the game to an extent of like if you see and like there was a call tonight with like he had Gobert on him and dudes at the bar were getting upset. It's like like if you get someone that's like off balance and they got their arm across you, everyone in the league is going to gather and go up for a shot. It's like I think it's just kind of like there's a heightened awareness with him now, where anytime he draws a foul, it's kind of just like the thinking of like he shouldn't have done that or like that wasn't legal. Even though like he actually gets fouled. So That's kind of my thoughts on it.
Okay. No, we definitely went back and forth about this already. Like I just now like I would never I would have voted for SJ last year to win MVP. Like he's obviously got it this year. I'm definitely not here to disparage the man's hooping ability. As I told you, Wendell, via Instagram DM, my seed, God willing, one of my sons, I'm a multi-sport athlete. You will not see my seed hooping and carrying himself in the way of one Mr. Giggles with the karate chop headband or the exceedingly long Instagram captions or just the general aesthetics of his basketball play or basketball play, God willing. Just like I said, it's not like I've established with you, not my vibe. Aesthetically, not for me. And I say that the foul baitiness, the grifting, but he really is a hooper. Like the mid-range game, the silky smooth touch. When he's on, I mean, like he is like it's not an or Ja or a freak show like Wimby, but he does have some very beautiful moments playing basketball.
Yeah, it's so funny because like
You gotta let me land because I can't let that be the last. I can't let that be the end of it. But hard but I just in general, just not my cup of tea in terms of getting the desired results. But he
yeah.
don't.
Wait, what were you gonna say?
So he don't give a damn. Like he'll probably he'll be making $1 million per game in the next 3 years or so. So he does not give. I guess he don't give a damn about my opinion. But that is my opinion, nonetheless.
Yeah, I just think it's so funny like the way he's viewed now of like people have always thought like how today's NBA is like so like it's so whack and like all these players like all they do is shoot threes. Like he's the player that like 90s NBA fans should love of like probably like 60% of his shots come in the mid range, plays hard defense. Like
But
he's that player, man.
but he like I see what you're saying, but just because not even just because I want to validate your opinion. He's getting shots from the spaces that the old heads would like, but the way he's getting to these shots are not what the old heads will like.
Yeah, it's
They're more, I think, like that '90s golden era fan that you're referring to. Like they're much more keen to like a mellow, his mid range diet. Throw it in, jab, jab. Pinch post, pull up, all this tough, physical, like bully ball. I think that's the aesthetic in terms, I guess, mid range scoring that people are, they say, yearning for, as you would, you kind of feel. I just, it doesn't. No, I don't think somebody that watched prime Penny Hardaway or prime Jordan or prime Gary Payton and Sean Kemp was like, oh, the dude that sounds like Drake just drew his third out of the game by grabbing the other dude's arm. I don't think, color me wrong, I could be wrong. I don't think that's what they're wanting when they're saying bring back the '90s.
it's
But
so
again, I could be wrong. I could be
It's
wrong.
so funny though. I'm gonna try to find the stat real quick of I think there's a clip from The Last Dance of like Charles Barkley coming up behind Jordan and complaining about how like they were getting a picture and he was gonna like get in the back of the picture. He's like grabbing his shoulder. He's like, oh, I can't touch him. It's gonna be a foul. Like people
That's hilarious.
like all the best scorers in NBA history have shot a lot of free throws. So for his career right now, or I guess we'll say this season, Shay's averaged 8.8 a game. For his career, Mike averaged 8.2. His MVP year, 1987, 12 free throws a game. And
Mm.
like the bulk, like he had his last 2 years, he only was shooting 40 free throws a game because he was old at that point. But it's like the best players in the game all shoot a lot of free throws. The best player in a lot of people's eyes shoots more than this guy. But people act like he's like the worst foul baiter the league's ever seen. That's just like nowhere close to the truth, in my opinion. But
No, like I think even like Embiid and a Harden, I think definitely worse. I think definitely worse. But I mean, like I told you, bro, we talked about this in the newsroom. You know, he got that Canadian Drake stench right now. Right now, until Drake becomes a little cooler, he's gonna just have it on him. But just in general, just he SGA is definitely an acquired taste. Pause. And I am just not. He's just like he's not my flow, man. Like give me Ant, give me John. Like I think. you know what I'm referring to. You feel
Yeah,
what
no,
I'm saying? You know, come on. I like my superstars a little bit more urbanized, a little more man of the people, than what Mr. Gildress Alexander presents. You should be proud of me when I didn't even call him Mr.
I
Goodness.
thought you were going to. No, I appreciate
Exactly. Um, like I said, I think we well, okay. I would ask for your prediction, but I feel like I would be rendered useless because your team is probably what 3-1 betting favorites at this point to win the championship. So I'll spare us that because, like I said, it's close to Josh's bedtime, and like I said, I want to cover a couple of things with you.
that. Okay.
Um, College football guy, as you mentioned, native Texan, so you root for UT. Um, what are you thinking about? Well, do you root harder for UT or Mizzou?
Oh, Mizzou. They haven't played yet since Texas is joining the SEC, but like whenever that game happens, I'm definitely gonna be rooting for Mizzou.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Well, actually, let's. What do you think? Like I said, CFB is your wheelhouse. What do you think about the new setup of the college football playoff now, to where the auto buys are gone?
I like that. I think I mean, we saw it in the games this year, like Penn State, Boise State. Not really Texas, Arizona State. Arizona State gave them a game, but I think everyone saw that coming, and like even like the conversation leading up to the playoff was, oh, like should Texas lose the SEC championship game so they can get the 5 seed and play Arizona and play whoever wins the Big 12? Like that shouldn't be the conversation with the playoff. So I think it's a good thing. I mean, I think the best 4 teams should be, or like the top 4 teams should be the best 4 teams. So like I like the like conference championships do matter and those people should be in the playoff. But I think obviously like not all conferences are equal. So I think those teams that maybe don't win their conference but would kill another conference champion should be higher. So I like it, I would say.
I mean, a lot of people felt that same way, but to see them kind of make that switch so soon speaks to the fluidity of college football in general, college sports in general, honestly.
Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, that could be a whole conversation for a whole entire pod onto itself. So we'll kind of leave it at that for right now. Arch Manning, believer, non-believer. I know you said going for Mizzou, but sorry, buddy. Mizzou national relevancy.
No, I know.
Shout out Luther Burden. Um, shout out Mizzou, border of Memphis, Tennessee. Whoop, whoop, but like you said, we're gonna go hone on the UT. Arch Manning, believer, non-believer. Sark is sober and coaching well apparently, so that's cool. Like what do you see in terms of CFP potential for UT this year?
I mean, I think it's gonna be a weird year in college football because I mean, if you look across the power, like really just the power four, there are very few like elite returning quarterbacks. I guess if you want to call Arch Williams, he started what 3 games last year.
Yeah, Drew Aller, Nussmeier, but outside of that, the well is. I'm looking through a way too early, 25 poll right now. The well is dry in terms of guys with
Yeah,
experience. K Klubnik is going to be one of the best quarterbacks coming back, so that
yeah,
should
and
take.
like Carson Beck, I guess in Miami, but no, I believe in Arch. I think. I mean, I think he showed definitely the flashes were very bright in the game in the games he got into last year when Ewers was out. I think, like processing wise, I think he was probably behind Ewers, which is why he wasn't ultimately the starter last year. I think I remember hearing it's like South Lake Carroll, where you went to school, ran RPO. Sark is like super RPO heavy offense, and before he got to college, Arch had never done that before. So I think like like a full offseason of him being the starter, getting all the number 1 reps, we definitely will see a growth there with him in that offense. And I think Texas like should enter the year as the favorite to win it all. Just that they just have so much talent. Um,
Mm.
like you mentioned Drew Aller, but like I mean, Penn State's offense has failed in big games for as long as we can all remember.
Oh,
LSU,
no love for Clemson. No love for Clemson.
no. Clemson had a great year last year. I think they kind of like put themselves back in like the national consciousness. I think like after Trevor Lawrence left, they kind of fell off for a few years. They're certainly like back in that conversation, and I think the ACC with the way Florida State just fell off a cliff last season. Um, they should be the favorites there and should definitely be back in the playoff. So yeah, I mean, I think it'll be an interest. I think it'll be a fun year, not because of necessarily all the star power, but I think there isn't really a super clear favorite. Last year is like everyone knew like it was going to be Ohio State, like had the most expensive roster in college football, and now it's Texas. So um, we'll see.
No, I think I agree with you. I think Texas is probably the most set up to return, but I will say, without a shadow of a doubt, I think the best player in college football resides in Columbus, Ohio. So if
Oh yeah,
Mr. Smith can get him a competent quarterback, I don't think. I mean, Will Howard didn't hear his name be called. Like he was definitely not. He was an above average college quarterback, but he definitely, you could find another one of those.
I don't
I
think I
think
know
that
who's going to be the quarterback there. I don't think I know.
I imagine don't think they're gonna start Devin Brown. So I mean, I don't know. That's a good question, honestly. But yeah, not a lot of returning talent in college football. So it'll be interesting to see who rides to the cream of the crop. And the SEC will have something to say, and that includes Texas now. So it's like
Yeah,
we good, we good. Wendell, like you said, Memphis, your current job what pays the bills because you don't pop with me every day all day. Covering the high school prep scene in Memphis, as you know, native. So I have a lot of context around the history of the prep scene, and also, I mean, I don't, kind of who should be, relevant nowadays. But just what have you, um, not used to be a full high school sports cycle, not quite a year yet, I don't think.
no.
Um, so bet. So what have you learned about again? Just the aura, for lack of a better term, around Memphis high school sports, basketball, football, and just kind of what kind of the city produces.
I will say like the excitement of like the energy that I was told about with like Memphis basketball and especially high school basketball certainly lived up to that. Um, this might sound crazy. I've been to a lot of big sporting events. I think as far as just like the like kind of like just pure just like electricity at the moment, I think like the Whitehaven Bartlett basketball game region like semifinal I went to, it was at Bartlett. That game was packed out. That was one of the most like fun scoring environments I think I've ever been in. It was a high school basketball game. Like that was a lot of fun. And there's certainly a ton of talent in basketball. I think like it's kind of like even like obviously there are school like teams that are better than others. Like every team has like a guy, everyone has so like every team has like a player that's like oh like that's a dude, you know.
Mm,
And I think that was like cool to see is like I mean East made a crazy run at the end. They obviously had like a historically great program, but it's like they kind of came out of nowhere. They beat Houston in the playoffs and ended up at state, and I don't think anyone expected that. But like everyone's good, you know. I would say like as it was cool as someone like that only played baseball growing up, just kind of like learning the ins and outs of like amateur sports, other amateur sports, and just kind of how they work like outside of just like the high school game and like learning like I went to the EYBL event here a couple weeks ago, like about a week and a half ago. And it's like seeing that and seeing just kind of how that stuff works was fun. With like football and baseball, honestly, like a lot more talent that I guess I would have expected. Like I probably grew up in maybe one of the biggest like amateur sporting environments there is in the US in Houston. So obviously like I think I was kind of like maybe like I don't know if numbed or desensitized is the right word here, but like there was just so much talent everywhere that I kind of like the guy kind of like became like my norm almost. But there's certainly like a lot of talent here, football wise, and really just across the board. There are a lot of good athletes here. It's sad, I guess, with basketball, seeing how many of them leave and go other
I
places.
wouldn't. That's a problem, huh? Now,
Yeah,
so a trend, I guess I could say, problem is based on perspective, but there's
yeah.
definitely a trend with because Memphis high school basketball definitely is the root of the scene. So, like, what is that trend kind of done for the local scene?
I mean, I think, I mean, and I haven't been here long enough to kind of gain all of that context, but just from what I've seen, it's like when we were prepping stories heading into EYBL, we had just as many like Memphis high school players as we had guys that are from Memphis that transferred elsewhere and are now coming back to Memphis for this event. And I mean, I think if you look at like FACS as an example, like they won state in 2024 and then their two best players transfer out of state. Another one transfers to another Memphis school, and like that team won, I think like less than 10 games last season. So like that kind of stuff like happening is just crazy. Um, and yeah, I mean, I like there's certainly um, I guess schools that are hurt by guys leaving. But I don't know. That's just kind of like nature of the beast with high school basketball. It's not just a Memphis problem. Like I saw like Innsworth School in Nashville. They were just in like the state semifinals. Their two best players are going to like a school in Indiana now. So it's like that team that was just at state is might be horrible next season. So I think it's just the way basketball is now, and certainly in Tennessee now with them having like the one-time transfer rule, it's
And
going
I, you know,
yeah, and NIL, like it's just going to be a problem now on I think it was already happening like behind closed doors, and it's going to be out in the open now. So like I've never seen like high school commitment graphics, like where kids are going to school in the off season, but I've seen two of them since the high school basketball season ended already. So it's it's crazy.
the democratization, I guess professionalization of amateur sports. Yeah, definitely an issue. Definitely an issue. Or like, well, I guess the issue again is a matter of perspective. Definitely changing the dynamic
Certainly, yeah.
of like I said, college sports at its root and obviously getting trigger down effect with high school sports. But I mean, I say regardless. I mean, it's still nice to see that Memphis is a notable, prep scene, but also continues to produce talent. It's further recruiting ground, things like that in multiple sports. And whether those kids finish their full high school for their full 4 years in Memphis or they transfer out, we know for the most part in the city which kids are the homegrown ones and which kids, are not. So it's nice to see that the scene, some of the traditional programs of Houston or Germantown or Whitehaven, continue to kind of dictate. And again, it's nice to see you kind of have some of those traditional powers continue to produce, high end talent, like a Lausanne. Wendell, like I said, 11:30, getting dangerously close to bedtime. Covered a decent amount of different things here. Got a macro view as an OKC fan, some playoff yap, some U yap, some stuff, some other college football yap. Do you think we covered this? Do you think we covered this extensively for an entire episode, sir?
Yeah, no, this is a pretty wide-ranging show. This is fun.
I think so myself too. Um, I say ball, or maybe if it's outside your comfort zone, like just let me know because I don't know. Um, what are y'all looking for in the draft? Y'all finna win a championship. I don't know what y'all been looking for, but I think I have a lottery pick. But just in general, what are some draft takes that you got? Right now in terms of like I said, just prospects. Other the top, Ace is kind of divisive right now, but is it some guys that you're higher on that you think the general consensus is lower? Just like how you feel about some guys on the draft right now?
I don't have probably as many draft thoughts as some people. I guess I'm maybe on the weird basketball fan. I like kind of strictly watch the NBA and then like my team in college basketball. But
Mm,
I have like listened to a lot of like just like pre-draft content. Kind of what I make of it though. I think it's kind of like Cooper and then like I say Dylan Harper and then it's kind of everyone else sort of it. It's kind of like everyone's like the draft starts at three. I think there are, I don't know if there are a ton of like stars. I think there are definitely plenty of guys that will be really good NBA players. Even like a Ace Bailey or even if those guys don't like, or VJ Edgecombe, if those guys don't like turn into like stars. I think there are a lot of just like good NBA players in this draft. I don't know. I think OKC only has their own pick this year. Actually, this is like the last year before they have like all the crazy number of picks, like 2026. They're gonna have four first round picks.
that's
Um,
crazy.
they will not be using
And
all
then
those
with the
picks.
dancer, bro.
They
I'm
will they will not be using all those picks. I mean, maybe if like someone leaves and they want to package him up in draft advance, so like I doubt that'll happen. But um, I think like someone like Con Knipple, if he falls to OKC, would be really good. Of like someone that's a shooter can maybe play a little defense. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't have a ton of thoughts there on the draft. Like from everything I've read and listened to, it's a good class. As far as like OKC, what they would need, um, more shooting. I think like you have like potential shooters on this team. I think the playoffs they get away with it because the defense is so great. But they've had a lot of bad shooting nights. Tonight was a good one and they won. But like th they're like difference in like with they blow teams out by playing defense and getting turnovers. They don't blow teams out by shooting the ball, but like having someone that's like a consistent shooter, I think would help them, whether he's off the bench or whatever. So I love Lou Dort, but like his threes are so like random of like whether or not they go in. Um,
Moonball shouting, definitely moonball
yeah.
shot for sure. Um, the rich get richer. You opened your mouth and said y'all want content, but that's crazy. That's crazy, man. Like I said, a brother can dream, and like y'all, like you said, bro. If I end up with the band, so I might have to stop being your friend, bro. 'Cause that's I'm not gonna lie, that would be crazy. But in all seriousness, I was not a fan of J Dub being All NBA. I was not a fan of him being an All Star. To be honest with you, I was definitely not a fan of him being All NBA.
Yeah.
But games like tonight, when we question all year, honestly, especially in the playoffs, do we have enough outside the shade? Do they have enough on ball creation outside the shade? I think I don't know if tonight fully answers, but something like this definitely is like, okay, this is where you get your All NBA ceiling from. This is where you get your All Star ceiling from. And that was critical to see because I mean somebody said y'all's big three. It's crazy 'cause I never think of it like that, but I mean J Dub and Chet could all be all stars too. Y'all's big three really hooped out tonight. Chet in particular had just been struggling with the physicality of the playoffs, but also shooting the ball. So nice to see him get back on that. But yeah, 34 from your two in a playoff game is gonna get you. You're gonna be right out of time. And we like you said, we've seen J Dub have my bad. Power was it's been storming out here bad,
There's
bro.
nothing in
It's
there,
going
yeah.
crazy. I'm surprised the Wi-Fi didn't go out. But no, yeah, like I said, this is you look at games like, oh, he can't do that. Like we can max him out. We can give him 200 M's to be the Brown to our Tatum because he can do it like that. So yeah, like I said, y'all are getting y'all, y'all still super young, but y'all are tracking that playoff maturation process and you're turning jokers every time, and it is just sometimes like that, where not to ramble about my team too much, but you just turn your developmental cards and all that, and it's like you saw what happened with the Grizzlies this year. You put a lot of stock into that Vince Williams, that GG Jackson card, and it turned up red. So when you consistently hit on those developmental swing guys, like you have you do what you're doing okay, so you build a championship contender in the smallest market in the league.
Yeah, this is one. I got one last second. I'll keep it quick. People, it's not like a hard thing to like read into, to like understand it, but I do think like at some point the NBA is gonna make a change with like contracts where like all NBA MVP based like escalators don't count toward the cap. Because it's truly like sad almost where like teams shouldn't get punished for having good players or for developing good players. And you look at like Cade making All NBA, Mobley winning Defensive Player of the Year, like them winning those awards is gonna like materially hurt their ability to like their future because it's like Cade will be making like 15 million more a year when he signs his like next contract. If like you looking at OKC, like Shea, if he wants it, can get like be making 76 million a year, and then you got Shea and Jada like it could potentially be like max guys too. It's like it's impossible to team build when he's like, and you shouldn't get punished for that. Is kind of my opinion.
Hmm.
Because like I was thinking like talking with like DeMichael and this like about like Jaren this offseason of like if he makes All NBA, like things get a lot harder for the Grizzlies, and like that shouldn't you shouldn't be like rooting against guys on your team getting awards. Like that's uh it's kind of backwards to me of like that should be a benefit for the player, but shouldn't like hurt the team because the contract didn't start off that way, but then they like make All NBA and it's like, oh, now you have to pay. Now you're a second apron team. Have fun. Like that's Cleveland's situation now. Like next year, I mean, they're probably going to like get off of like Max Strus and some other guys, but it's like they're a second apron team as of right now because Mobley won Defensive Player of the Year, and like that's an unfortunate situation.
I like that take, brother. Very nuanced take. I
Yeah,
think the only thing that I think will prevent that from actualizing it is that the league will always be able to say the guy could have signed for less. Like you have the players have the option to
yeah,
do the Brunson, not to sacrifice. some money for in terms of flexibility to put money around me because I mean I'm trying to think like these escalators, like these all NBA, these are like 25-30 million dollar escalators. So I mean that's I mean the cap is exploding, but these are still big chunks of changes that you would be in your proposed theory would be wiping out essentially, not counting against the cap. I actually kind of like that idea. I just like I said, I just think that the fact that the league always point to, and guys could like they're always going to be like, hey, these guys like nobody's forcing. Well, you guys have the option to come to an agreement less than the super max or whatever it is, or less than the escalator ascension. So I do actually like that idea because it is, yeah, like it is with how much talent it is in the league. It is probably too hard to try to build and maintain that unless you go crazy looking in the draft. Like, yeah, acquiring free agents or acquiring like by acquiring talent at its what am I trying to say? At its actual value, like its worth value, like it's crazy. All the stuff that look, I mean, the Knicks are again the closest example, and Brunson left what 20 something million on the table to do that. But like, yeah, all that draft capital for Bridges, all the money that you're paying Ananobi, all the money that you're paying Cat, like all that for Thibodeau. I mean, that's why Tibbs only plays them seven. Like y'all are making all
That's
this
true.
money. Like y'all
That's
better go out
true.
here and make it. So yeah, I like that take. We might have to clip that one up, Nick. I do like that one. Wendell Shepard. That just brother. That's just Wendell. You know ball. So no cap. That was Wendell Shepherd. Wendell Shepherd. Knowledgeable ball knower, high school press reporter for the Memphis Commercial Appeal. Houstonian. I think that's what they call y'all.
Yeah,
Not the Houstonites, the crazy like that. An unfortunate fan of one Mr. SGA, aka Mr. Haha Giggles, as he's referred to on this platform. Wendell, buddy, thank you for coming on with me. Hopefully, I won't say that on live. I won't say that on live, but hopefully, you know what I'm looking for, working for. Hopefully we can make some of that come to fruition. I can, yeah, we can. We hopefully we can be teammates at some point soon again, brother. I'll
for
put
sure,
it
for
like
sure.
that. Thank you for coming on. Like I said, no cap. That is Wendell Shepherd of the Commercial Appeal. Drop your socials in case you just want some. You want to try to get some love on that if you want to.
Yeah. Main thing I use is Twitter. I think it's Wendell WENDELLSJR underscore on Twitter. So that's
Yeah,
mainly where
get
I'm
that
at.
Wendell. He's on top of all the Memphis high school prep scene, and like you said, we got some legitimate talent coming out of 901 in the grassroots level. So you want to find out all about that? Follow my man Wendell on Twitter. But outside of that. Got some draft content coming for No Cap Sports. If I can wrangle up the gang, we will all shoot an episode again at some point. And yeah, if y'all liked Wendell, drop some comments. We'll see about trying to get him back on. Talking about again, he college football is his roundhouse, so we'll probably definitely get him on for that. But yeah, this is a good little post game recap. Like I said, tapping for some of the draft content, some other content episode that we got recorded coming up now. But